Well, hello everyone. Here we are for another evening with your girl, Audrey Codner from ACG Math Tutoring. Hopefully you're doing well tonight. I'm a little heated, but we're gonna get through today. The reason why I'm heated is I'm starting to agree with our lovely little government right now that we definitely need to do some kind of revamping of our Department of Education. Never thought I would see the day, but here we are. Now, I understand there's a lot of concepts of math that you may not see a purpose of in everyday life. I get it. I know it. I feel it. But some things like this, ratios, proportions, scale drawing, you need this. How to read a map. How to figure out your recipes. And don't say, oh, well, it says a half a cup and I just get a half a cup and I put stuff in there. But we need to work on this. We need to do better. This, and then, of course, after a couple of clients today, we need to do order of operation. Everything needs order. Okay? This is not the 90s where we're wearing the Madonna bra on the outside of our shirts. Okay? Bras underneath, shirt over top. There is order. All right, so what we're going to work on today is we're going to work on some ratios, proportions, scale drawings, and then I'm going to pull some order of operations because I had something else in mind until I had my course with some of my students, and I said, nope, screw that. We're going to do order of operation. So let us begin. All right, so working on ratios. Let's even back up. What is a ratio? A ratio is basically another way of saying a fraction. Part over the whole, okay? Any kind of expression. Now, a proportion is basically two ratios that are going to equate each other. Okay? So this is my proportion, and this is my ratio. All right, so when we're looking at ratios, we're looking at part over the whole. Okay, so we got in one season a basketball team won 60 games, okay, and lost 20. What is the ratio of games won to games lost? So we're looking at 1 to loss. Okay, you can say A over B, you can say A to B, but we're doing the comparison. So, how many games were won? Good evening, bundles. How are you? So, how many games were won? Awesome. Hello, Candy Girl. All right. 2, how many games were lost? Oops. Sorry, my tape was in the way. Okay. All right. So we got our games that was won compared to the games that was lost. Now, we have 60 to 20. Another way of saying it is 60 with the colon to 20. Okay, so if you see that as an option, that can happen. All right, as I wrote it as a fraction, you can say 60 20. But as we can say, we can reduce that. 60 and 20 both have zeros, so we can cancel out those zeros. So we can simplify it a little bit. So now we got 6 over 2, so much more manageable. What number does 6 and 2 have in common? There you go. Thank you, Coy. Thank you. Oh, definitely not. So we're going to have our 3 to 1. Okay? Because 6 divided by 2 gives me 3. 2 divided by 2 gives me 1. All right? So what we have as a ratio, if we really want to get it down to as simple as terms, which we do, we can say it's going to be a 3-to-1 ratio. Or we can write it this way, 3:1 ratio. Or you can leave it as the lovely fraction. So all three of those ways represents the ratio to the games won compared to the games lost. So they won 3 games for every loss. All right? Okay. So now, a mallard duck has 13 ducklings. 5 of the ducklings are male. All right? What is the ratio of male to female ducklings? Okay? I know, I feel like I'm very brass today because it's a continuation of our Department of Education failing our kids. Or maybe it's just because of other situations. Okay. It could be 6th grade. It could be 7th grade. It could be wherever you want it. Whatever you want. It doesn't even matter. I don't know why you're so worried about what grade math this is. Can you do it? That is the question. Because there's always a question, something like this, or the scale drawing that's in the ASVAT, that's in the Accuplacer, that's in the GED, that's in the SAT. And so many people get it wrong. Okay? And this is life stuff. This is what makes me crazy. All right. So, thank you. So we have Candy Girl saying 5 to 8. Okay, a mix of both. There we go. Pog Champion, 5 to 8. All right, so we had a total of 13 ducklings. They told us 5 are male. So the ratio of male, remember, this is my to female. So if we have 5 male, if we had a total of 13, it's not going to be 5 to 13. They want to know the ratio of male to female. If 13 was my total, 5 of them are male, how many are female? Okay, how many are them female? Yeah, tonight is definitely not the night. I'm sorry. It really isn't. Because there's too many people that's getting this wrong and it's making me crazy. All right. Thank you, Roy. 8. Wow. Yes. Over my head. Yes. Okay. All right. It can't be 6 because 6 plus 5 does not give me 13. Okay. See? It's going to be 8. So 5 to 8, you can write it as this. 5 to 8. Or sometimes you might see it as this, as a fraction, 5 to 8. Either way, this is at its lowest term because the only thing that 5 and 8 have in common is 1. That's the only thing they have in common. So this is going to be your ratio for the males to females. All right? Okay. Right now, we're just getting the simple ratios. Just the simple ratios. Now, is there multiple ways of doing this? Of course there is. But sometimes we try to complicate things so much that we lose what am I solving for? Exactly. Just take what they're currently giving you, answer the blessed question, and move on. Okay? All right. So, BB. Baby, really, paid $8 for 20 pounds of oranges. That's a lot of oranges. Only in math that we're buying huge amounts of fruit, right? What is the ratio of the price of oranges to the pounds of oranges? Now, we can figure out with our 8 to 20. Sometimes we need to figure out what will be 1. Okay, what would be the price of basically 1 orange and what will be 1 pound? So this is where, is it Tessa? This is where Tessa actually comes in, okay? 8 fractions, I know. It's all right. Ratios, yes. That's why we're doing them. All right? So if you want to, if you understand the division, remember, it's going to be the price of oranges. So before they had 8, that was the price for the 20 pounds of oranges. Okay? If you want to just put an 8 and a 20, you could. So they want to know what would be the ratio if I had like 1 pound of oranges. So this is where I like to say proportions are going to come in. Exactly. Okay. So we're saying 4 to 5. Okay. Because you're reduced it by 2. No. Reduced it by my unknown. So some people can say, all right, why don't I just simply do my division? So why don't I just do the 20 and the 8 so I can figure out how much one's going to be? So I'm seeing 4 to 5, 4 to 5. I'm seeing $1.60 per orange. I'm seeing 16. I'm seeing $2.50, and I'm seeing 2 to 5. So let's get it all going. So I like to put it this way. I'm a vertical girl. I'm very much vertical. So if we have our price over our pounds. So we said the price was $8 for 20 pounds. And we want to know what the price is for 1 so we can figure out the price of 1 pound of oranges. So this is what you could do. There's multiple things, but this is what you could do. When you have a ratio equal to a ratio, and this is the one thing a lot of people get mixed up, this is called a proportion. And what you can do with proportions, you can cross multiply. All right? You can cross multiply. You can do 20 times x, which gives me 20x. I know there's other ways of doing this, guys. I'm just doing it this way. You got 8 times 1. That gives me 8. And then I can divide both sides by 20. Which is basically the same thing that we were doing over here. So now you just need to figure out 8 divided by 20. So what is it? Because I was getting multiples. There we go. Thank you, Pog. Thank you, Candy Girl. All right. So we got our X is basically 40 cents. So we're saying that the price of an orange to 1 pound, it's going to be 40 cents per pound. And I'm going to put my per pound. Okay? All right? So, there's going to be times that you're going to have to take it a step further, especially when they start doing any exchanges of pounds. Now, here's another suggestion, or it's a thing to think about. Make sure that they do not, and I do mean do not, change whatever the metric is. Because there's times that they'll talk about pounds or they'll talk about grams, and next thing you know, they say, put your answer in kilograms. Okay, so that means you're going to have to do that conversion. So you'll get the answer, but you got it in grams. So now you got to figure out what it is in kilograms and vice versa. Okay, so that's why it's always important, like when you read, you want to make sure you're answering the question. So anytime you have word problems, Always underline what's important. Okay, $8. Okay, 20 pounds for oranges. What am I finding? I'm finding a ratio. Okay, got the price of an orange to the pounds of the orange. And then you always kind of put some kind of indication. Sorry, my tape is in the way. Some kind of indication to say, what is your question? Are you answering the question? Okay, but just want to make sure of that. Okay, great. All right, so talking about proportions. When we're kind of leading more into the proportions, again, you have a ratio equal to a ratio. So when you see an equal sign in between the ratios, because this is what a lot of people get mixed up, but when you see an equal sign in between the ratios, that's when you're doing cross multiplication. Okay? I'm going to put this off to the side for a second. You don't have to copy this down. I just want you to see the difference. So if I said 4/5 times, 2/9, this you're just multiplying straight across. When there is a multiplication symbol in between the two fractions or the two ratios, you're multiplying straight across. So this will give me my 8, and this will give me my 45ths. But when there's an equal sign, that's when you're cross multiplying. Okay, do we see the difference? Okay. All right. All right. So, there we go. Now, so when we come to this part, let's multiply. 80 times x gives me 80x. 4 times 100 gives me 400. Now I want to get x by itself. There you go. So if we divide both sides by 80, we'll get our x. Now, instead of you killing yourself doing all this, we got 2 zeros on the ends. Cancel them out. Make your ratio smaller, more manageable. Okay? So now you got your 40 divided by the 8, which will give me what? So Daniel's saying 5. I learned it. Very easy to follow and understand. All right, not a problem, Crystal. Thank you. Cinco, thank you, Pa. There we go. Yes, have a good night, Daniel. Thank you for stopping by. Hey, Creation, how are you? All right, so all we have is 5. And you're probably saying, well, does it equate to 400? Sure. You know, once you put it back in, you got your 80 times your 5. 5 times 0 gives me 0. 5 times 8 gives me 40, and it will give me my 400. All right? So as long as you see the difference, when there's an equal sign in between, you're cross multiplying. When there is a multiplication in between, you're multiplying straight across, or you're cross simplifying. All right? Okay. So, give this one a try. 5 over n equals 6 over 24. Okay, give it a try. Hey, L-Dub, how are you? Sorry, I had to get rid of a couple people. How would you know if you need to simplify? Well, you always want to take a look to see if you do have something to simplify. So like, say the previous one. Let me zoom in for a second and slide. So at least you guys can still see this one. So like for this one, from the beginning, I could have canceled out the zeros and just focused on the 8/10 and then just multiply. I always like to look to see if there is a pattern. Okay, is there something that are multiples? Like the 6 and the 24, I know that I could reduce that by 6 and then I would multiply. Okay, so I can do that. So I'm getting a couple answers of 12s and 20s. So let's see. So if I just went straight across, or not straight across, cross multiply, I would get my 6n, and then my 24 times 5, so that would be 0, carry the 2, so that would be 120. And then I would divide both sides by 6. Okay. All right. So it will give me my 20. Okay, good job, Ellen. Ellen's like, wait, don't count me in. All right. So we do have an n that equals 20. But like I mentioned earlier, we could have simplified the 6 24ths. So let me put that under here. So if I kept my 5/n, and if I reduced my 6 24ths, that would give me 1/4. Once I do that reduction, now I cross multiply. 1 times n gives me 1n, or just simply n. And then 5 times 4, that'll give me 20. So you have options, okay? You will have options. So it's up to you. Yes, thank you, Candy Girl. Now you understand my pain. Because when I have kids that are in 10th grade and they're like, why should I learn this? I just want to do something. Okay. Right. Good, TT. Good. Okay. So that's like, I like to show both ways because you don't know what's going to resonate with you. So some people will be like, okay, Audrey, show it to me and I'm going to do it that way each and every time. But just like the question that was asked, I think it was that, like, how do you know when to simplify? Sometimes you gotta just take a look. Take a look at what your options are. I know anytime I see anything that is to the tens, multiples of tens, I'm automatically getting rid of the zeros. Okay, so now I don't have to worry about larger numbers. Now it's a little more manageable because remember, these examinations you cannot have a calculator for. So make it a little bit easier for you. Okay? All right. Give this one a try. Okay, C over 14 equals 6/42. And when you do have your answer, go ahead and put it up. Okay, so Rebecca said 2. So that means 3. Zach's 2. Pog dos. Poison Elf, how are you? 2. Keeger, oh, Reed, how are you? I haven't seen you in a minute. 2. Hey, Danny. Irrational equations. I missed class, so I don't know. Actually, with the rational equations, I didn't do the equations for the rational ones. Yeah, I just did the simplifying ones. I didn't get to that one yet because last night, what was last night? I was planning on doing it. But then I had a session like yesterday and I was like, oh no, this is not 2 days in a row. I cannot. I'm okay. Yeah, I am going to get to it. Actually, I might do it tomorrow, in fact, because I don't have students tomorrow. Well, I take that back. But I have you guys before I have students. So I will be in a lot more pleasant place. It's crazy because seniors are starting to get their final exams and students are like done with school. So all of a sudden they feel like, you know what? I don't feel like doing work. You're like, what? Okay. All right. So yeah, I will do the solving equations tomorrow. Okay. Just for you, darling. All right. So I'm seeing a lot of answers of 2s. So if anything, if we wanted to, we could. I'm going to show you both ways. Cross multiply. So you got your 42C. And this will be 84. If I divide both sides by 42. Then I'll get C is equal to 2. Okay. Or I could reduce 42 or 6 over 42. I could reduce that by 6. So this would have gave me C over 14 equals 1/7. So when I cross multiply, I got 7C is equal to 14. Divide both sides by 7. Okay, making sure you're still in view. So then you get C is equal to 2. Okay. So the only thing is always look to see if you can simplify before you do your cross multiplication. All right, good. Excellent. Thank you. You're getting there? Okay, I like that. All right, so keeping with the theme of proportions. Okay, we're going to keep with the theme. So we talked about ratios. Did a little bit of naked math with the proportions. So now we're going to be looking at word problems. All right. So if you don't mind tapping for a little bit while everybody's here. I know I'm just passionate about what I do. And I think that's my problem is. Because I want everyone to be successful, and it just makes me so crazy when they're like self-sabotaging. And I'm like, why? Don't self-sabotage. Come on, you got this. Okay, thank you, Maddie. You don't miss this? I appreciate that. All right. So, that would be perfect. Yep, 2.5 will be awesome, and then I'll continue on. I do have a couple extra problems before we get to the most. Like when I say it was plucking my nerve today. Oh no. Woo! All right. So, a man who is 6 feet tall casts a shadow that is 11 feet long. At the same time, a tree casts a shadow that is 33 feet long. What is the height of the tree? There is always a word problem about a tree and shade. Always. If it's not about a person and a tree, it's always about a guy wire. If it's not about guy wire, it's about a ramp or a ladder leaning against a building, or it's always something. There's always something that's going on. All right. So we're seeing Gavin saying 18, T saying 15 or 16. Hey, Kim. Okay, Hitch is saying 18, T saying between. Okay. All right. So let's take a look. Let's think about this. All right. I'm not going to draw. No, I already embarrassed myself enough. All right. So we have our 6-footer right here. And he casts a shadow that's 11 feet long. At the same time, we have a tree. We don't know how tall the tree is, so it could be a little bit taller than a man, but we definitely know that the shadow is 33 feet. And we want to know how tall is the tree. Okay? Is the visualization helping a little bit? Okay. So now I'm getting a mixture. So we got 18, 15, or 16, 18 between, we got 20, we got an 18. Okay, so the visualization is helping. All right, thank you, Zach. So now I'm getting like Red Sox lovers, 18, bundle of blessing is 18. Okay, Hitch said 18 earlier. I want to say Manuel said 20. Is that Ocean? Says 18. Okay. Yes, Red Sox lover. Thank you. We basically have what's called similar, and if I closed it up, okay, we got like similar triangles. Okay, so the base of the smaller triangle compared to the base of the larger triangle. The height of the smaller triangle compared to the height of the larger triangle. So if you notice, this is 11 feet, this is 33. How do I get from 11 to 33? How do I get from 11 to 33? Because all those people that are giving me 18s and all these answers, how do I get from 11 to 33? Okay, Jill, multiply by 3, good. Is it G-O-D or goody? Okay, do the fractions out, bruh, I would. Okay, multiply by 3 is the man next to the tree. Doesn't say so. It's true, it didn't say so. But if it's casting a shadow, I'm assuming it's going to be on the same line. That's my assumption. Okay, multiply by 3. Good question though, Ken. All right, so when we have it, let me put it over here. So we have the shadow or the height of the person. The shadow over the height of the tree. So notice I keep it in the same pattern. Shadow, height of the person. If you want to do height over shadow, you can do that, but you keep with the same pattern. Then I notice for me to get to 11 to 33, I have to multiply by 3. Whatever I do in my numerator, I should do in my denominator. So that means the height of the tree is going to be 18 feet. And if you wanted, you could have done cross multiplication. So you could have done 11 times x, and then you have 198 equals 198, divide both sides by 11, that will also give you 18. Okay. Can you do 6 and 11? Yeah, you can do 6 and 11. If you do 6 over 11, that means you're doing your unknown over 33. Okay, what kind of tree is it? I don't know. What kind of tree do you want it to be, Ken? Just plucking this nerve. Okay. You're welcome. All right, so let me try one more. Actually, 2 more. Because I always do problems like this one. I didn't know how much space I was going to need, so I didn't want to tape it ahead of time. That's just me. And I'll put it over a little bit. As much tape as I use should be sponsored. Sponsored by Scotch Tape. Tape of the Olympics. All right, here we go. All right, hello, Lisa. So, the scale of this drawing, they throw sometimes things like this, especially SAT or ACT. The scale of this drawing of a wheel, I know, it's a lopsided wheel, just work with me, is 1 feet to 30 inches. What is the actual diameter of the wheel? Okay. So the scale drawing of the wheel is 1 feet to 30 inches. What is the actual diameter of the wheel? Manifested sponsorship. There's so many other. Oh, you have Alex. Ugh, can't take Alex. All right. So I'm seeing D for 15 feet. I'm seeing 45. Dane's saying 45 inches, which is option B. What does the question even mean? Exactly. So we are trying to look at pulling information out. So we have the scale drawing. Okay, so we have the drawing of an actual wheel. But they're saying the scale drawing. You know, like how you want to, if I wanted to draw a miniature version of my tape dispenser, okay? I can make it either bigger or I can make it smaller. But there's a certain rate that I want to do. If I want to do it bigger, I'm going to be times it by whole numbers. If I want to make it smaller, I'll be multiplying by fractions. So they're saying the scale of this drawing of a wheel is going to be 1 feet to 30 inches. So it's feet over inches. All right? That's what they're telling me. They're telling me feet over inches. But they want to know what is the actual diameter. Okay? What is the actual diameter? Okay, this is your weakness. And that's fine. And that's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm doing this. You got it. Alex isn't hard. It's just a lot of stuff to it. It's never just, okay, here's question 1, question 2, question 3. Like sometimes you might have to do projects with it. Sometimes it depends on who they are that you have to copy down your notes. It's a whole thing. So it also depends on how deep your district or your school wants you to do. Okay. All right. So still seeing a couple B's. Candy Girl's thinking it's B. Who said that? Creation said it was D, and Dane says it's 45. Okay, there we go. Bundles saying it's B45. Okay, Miss Reed is saying A, it's 30 inches. Okay. The one who got away. You go. Saying A is 30 inches. Okay. Michelle. Hello, Michelle. Saying 45. Do you use pi for this? Ooh. Do we use pi for this? Don't really have to. So we're looking for the inches. Okay. So if it's 1 foot, really it should be 1 foot. That's to 30 inches. And they're giving us something. So we're looking for the inches. Okay, so it's not... So we're dividing, and that's what she's... So plug in 1.5. For which one? The feet or for the inches, Zach? I know, I'm making you torturing everybody, I know. Is that Leva? Saying 1.5 over x for the feet. Okay, so when I cross multiply, I got 1 times x, which simply can just be x. And then you have 1.5 times 30. Down here. I know. Yeah, I know. It's just like sometimes it just slips up. Okay. So basically what you're doing, if I may, and it is going to give us our 45. Right here, they're saying 1.5 feet. Okay, so that means we have that 30 inches. We're just doing a conversion. Okay, we're doing a conversion from this feet and we're putting it into inches. That's all you're doing. Right? Not a problem. It was all the way across. Nope, that's right, half pint. It is all the way across. And the radius is halfway. Yep, and the radius is halfway. All right. Okay, questions. So all we're doing is conversion. Okay. All right. Where were when you needed this? I don't know. I'm at the point sometimes I don't even know where I'm at. All right. So that was pet peeve number 1. Now, what is today? Today's the 15th. Now we're gonna go, because this just happened not too long ago. We're gonna get into this order of operation. Now, I haven't seen that many lately because I think my algorithm has shifted. That I used to see a lot of people come on here and do like an expression, and they will ask you, is the answer 4 or -16 or something like that. And so many people will come in and like, oh, the answer's 4, the answer's 4. And you answered like the same question over and over again. And a lot of people generally keep forgetting one key component. All right. So again, it depends on where you guys are from. All right. It all depends. So when we're dealing with the order of operation, so here in the States, we have this lovely saying of please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So with the please is dealing with the parentheses. The excuse is dealing with the exponent. So the one that has a superscript for our degrees. The my is multiplication, dear is division, aunt addition, Sally subtraction. Now, I like to, since this is my book, I can write it like this. I like to write it like this. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And then I add, this is the component that everyone forgets. We have to go from left to right. Okay, we have to go from left to right. Okay, this is a book that I designed for my students. I have it on sale. It's on my website, and also it's on Amazon. So to write notes on one side, formulas, and steps. Okay, so yep, it has all these things. It has factors if you're not strong with your multiplication. And then also the rules of integers with addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, as well as when you do word problems, the most popular words associated with each operation. Okay, so I have a whole bunch of stuff with these. Okay, I just usually just wanted to help my students out as best I can. All right. Perfect. Yep. Definitely take a look. Go to my website. It's called the Ultimate Math Notebook. It's designed for 7th graders all the way up to adults. And soon enough, I will be doing my self-publishing. That's going to come out soon, like Saturday. So you can go directly to my website, and then soon enough, I'll be able to put everything on TikTok Shop, and we can just go directly there as well. All right. You see the top of the book? You mean the cover? So I have 3 covers. This is one. Whoops. Okay, I'll get that later. This is another one. And we just finished up book 3, and that's the other one. And all of them have like basically the same structure of it. Sorry, my fan is on. So then you have all your breakdowns, and then also the formulas and the steps, and then I also have like the grids on both sides. So it's like 100 pages. It reminds you of those Cornell notes back in the day. That's what kind of inspired me, just to keep things organized. And you can take pieces of your worksheets up here, tape them inside your book, and then have like the formula that's associated with it, and you can actually write your notes right next to it. Or if you got a whole lot of terminology that you want to write down, and then you can just do a brief summary off to the side, you can do that as well. Okay, so it's called the Ultimate Math Notebook. It's in my website. If you click on my picture and my profile, you can go to my website, ACG Math Tutoring. Look at Ultimate Math Notebook, and it'll take you straight to Amazon. Or you can just type my name, Audrey Codner, because I'm the only one. And you can type that into Amazon, and it will show. All right? Yes. Yep, Ultimate Math Notebook. Yep, I know. Wanted to be a little conceited. Oh, good job. The lonely lazy. You're not lazy anymore. You passed your algebra EOC. Good job. Excellent. Yeah, I had another person that passed, I want to say last week. I was like, good job. I bet you feel proud. Not a problem. Yep. So I'm like, thank you. Yeah, anything to kind of support, and especially a lot of my students love the factor sheet, because the one that's yellow is your prime numbers, the blue is your perfect squares. It helps you break down your radicals. If you deal with your reds, that will help you break down your radicals, and it will help you do all your factoring as well. And it goes up to 1 to 200, because a lot of notebooks are not necessarily designed for older students. Most of them are designed for either just doing journaling, or they're designed for elementary school kids. Right? All right. Okay. Order of operations. Now, internationally, okay, I forgot what your slogan was, because that's why it's not here. Oops, where we go? Here we are. Very similar. They talk about the brackets first, then they do others, or the other order. Then they have division, then multiplication, so they switch that, and they have addition, then subtraction. But no matter what, there is an order. Okay? So, let's start off big. Why not? Let me zoom in for this bad boy. All right. So if we have 6 plus 8 plus 7 over 3 squared minus 4 minus a negative 5. What could I do first? How many books should you get? As many as you want. Now, if you also want my notes, like the books that I just flashed up from books 1, 2, and 3, they are completed. Like 3 is completed. We're on book 4 now. So if you want a copy of my notes, you can basically buy a copy of my notes. And what happens is I treat it almost like a system. So like say this is an example of a copy of my notes. On each page you get a QR code. This QR code will take you directly to the live that this page is associated with. So you don't have to go running around looking for it. And then you can get the examples, you can get the step-by-step, and you can actually see me writing the steps live. So basically you're getting me virtually. I guess that's the nicest way that I can say it. So if you want to, I'm planning and I'm working on getting it onto book form. Right now, digital form is on my website, but book form is going to happen. All right. So I know one book, since I write very large, if I wrote smaller, that should handle like for a quarter, for one instructional quarter. All right. So Troy's saying 14. Paul is saying 14. Is it Nija? No. Hold on. Yeah, Nija? Saying 14. Bundles of Blessing, 14. So neat. Thank you. All right. So Remy. All right. So finish it out, Remy. Do what's inside that parenthesis. So we have 8 plus 7. That gives you your 15. Yes. Let me change colors here so you guys can see. So we have our 15 in the numerator. 3 squared, that gives me 9. 9 minus 4, that gives me 5. That's in the denominator. Oh. Sorry, I have to move a puzzle piece. say, yes, I'm alive. I'm here. Hey. Now, I'm going to bring down this plus 6. But what's happening over here? Okay, what's happening over here? Okay, I did send 14. Musa saying 14. Okay, Candy Girl 14. Hitch 14. RJ, thank you. You're saying that's positive. Okay, actually, I'm going to tell you in a second. Junior, I'll tell you in a second. So yes, this turns into a positive 5. Guys, a negative times a negative will give me a positive. Sometimes our minus sign acts as negative signs. Okay, they play almost like a dual role. But now let's clean this up. From what? Left to right. Okay, so from left to right, the first thing I should be thinking about is either multiplying or dividing. And we have division. So 15 divided by 5 gives me 3. And then we have our 6 plus 3 plus 5. Okay, 6 plus 3, that gives me 9. 9 plus 5 gives me 14. All right. You're learning how to break things step by step. Please. Please. Oh, man. Okay. And it shouldn't matter if we have whole numbers or, why is she saying that? Or if we have fractions. All right, so let's start off slow with fractions. We can't escape it. So 8/3 times 1/6 plus 1/4. You're like, oh no. Yes. Okay, we're going to keep it simple for the order of operation, but we really need to understand the fractions. Okay, you used to love algebra? Awesome. All right. Hey, Apple user, where have you been? You haven't been here for a long time. Okay, all right. Gulf of Mexico, hello. All right, now let's take it step by step. We're going to take this 8/3. Do not change it to a decimal. I know that's what you're doing. Do not change it to a decimal. Leave it as a fraction. And what we're going to do is we're going to distribute. All right, we're going to distribute. So that means we're going to have 8/3 times 1/6 plus 8/3 times 1/4. Okay, remain calm. Continue your breathing. It's okay. Yes, user, we're going to do distributive property. Good job. Sorry, I didn't see your thing earlier. All right. Now, okay, you're still with me. You're still with me. Don't leave. Don't be like, oh, all right. Have a good night, Apple user. Take care. All right. So now we're going to take this one step at a time. Okay, so I'm going to close off this side for a second so we can focus just on the left-hand side. So all we need to do is we could, one of two ways, we can multiply straight across and see if we can simplify, or we could cross simplify. The reason why we got those two as an option is in between each of these ratios is not an equal sign. So you're not cross multiplying, you're cross simplifying. or you're just going to multiply straight across, then reduce. Okay. So Candy Girl is telling me, all right, we can do 8 over 18. Is that what you're telling me? You're telling me 16/30ths? Okay. All right, for the whole thing? Good. Wait. Okay, 48. There you go. All right. So if we want, we can do 8 times 1 to give me 8 over 3 times 6, which is 18. All right. Now, 8/18 could be reduced, but let's see what we get on the other side. Okay, let's see if we get something. So on the other side, let me put my plus sign here so I know where to go. We could do 8 times 1, which gives me 8, over 3 times 4, which gives me 12. All right, so if I look at the denominators, they're not the same. Since we're doing addition, we need to have a common denominator. But looking at the ratios, I can simplify it, so I don't have to deal with large numbers for 18 and 12. So if I want to, I can simplify it by 2. So if I divide this by 2 and divide this by 2, I can get my 4/9. I know there's a shorter way of doing this. I'm showing all ways, okay? Now, 8/12, that can be reduced by 4. So if I do 8 divided by 4, that gives me 2. And 12 divided by 4, that gives me 3. All right. What do we notice? Exactly. We could have done that way too, bundles. Good. Trust me, there's like 3 to possible 4 ways that we can do. So if we have, we need to have a common denominator. So I need to change that 3 to a 9. So that means we have our 4/9 plus our 6/9 which will give me what? There we go. Why is your name that? Like, seriously, dude. Ridiculous. You have 10/9. But if you don't like improper, that will give you 1 and 1/9. Okay. Yep, so we got our 10/9 because we have a common denominator. Okay? That's one way. You're like, there's more. I'm like, yes, there is more. Another way, and I'm just going to try to keep that in one color. Just like bundles of blessings mentioned, we had our 8/3. And she said, why didn't we just try to get our common denominators inside the parenthesis? We can do that. So 6 and 4. If you think of the 6 times table and the 4 times table, what number do they both have in common? Okay, we're about to get started again, key. So here we go. All right, so Danny's saying 12, Ella's saying 12, John saying 2, Bundles 12. All right, so we want these denominators to be 12s. Now, in order for this 6 to turn into a 12, I need, to multiply it by 2. Whatever I do in the denominator, I have to do in the numerator. 1 times 2 gives me 2. So now, for the 4 to turn into a 12, I need to multiply by 3. Whatever I do in the denominator, I have to do in the numerator. 3 times 1 gives me 3. All this is happening inside this parenthesis. Okay. Now that I have a common denominator, now I can add or combine my numerator. So that means we have 8/3 times 5/12. So I'm going to take it a step further. Look right here with the 8 and the 12. What number does 8 and 12 have in common? 4. Good. 4. Yes, leave it. Good. C4. Good. Danny. Good. Bundles 4. Ellie. And John. Good. So that means if I did 8 divided by 4, this 8 is now a 2. If I did 12 divided by 4, that means this 12 is now a 3. If I tried to go on the cross this way with the 5 and the 3, the only thing that 5 and 3 has in common is 1. So that's not going to help us out. So that means this is at its lowest term. So now that we simplified that, now all we have to do is just multiply straight across, horizontally. 2 times 5 is 10. 3 times 3 is 9. And that gave us the same answer, zoink, that we got from the first time. Which, if you wanted to reduce it into a mix, that'll give you 1 1/9. Okay. So this is the one thing I want to get through to us. And this is where I have to calm myself down. There are multiple ways of getting the same answer. You are going to have some professor or a teacher once in your life that's going to say, I want you to do it this way. Acting like he invented or she invented math their dang self, right? But here's the thing. They're the teacher of record. They're holding your fate in their hands. So sometimes you just got to suck it up, buttercup, and try to understand it their way. However, you can always use an alternative way to double check to see if you're going on the same path. So now when it's time for you to take GED, AccuPlace, or ASVAT, any of those assessments, remember, it's a time test. So if you want to stay the course with the please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, you can do that. You have to have a common denominator when you're adding or subtracting fractions. That's vital to understand. When you're multiplying, as you can see here, all you have to do is just multiply straight across, multiply straight across, multiply horizontally. Okay. Once you get an answer, double check to see, are you answering the question? Okay, we get so caught up with like, okay, the answer is going to be A or C or D or A. Doesn't matter. Are you answering the question? Okay. All right. Got it. Good. I'm so glad you think this is so satisfying. All right. Let's try another one. Let me see if I can find some that will be mind-blowing. Well, the fraction was pretty mind-blowing, but let's see if we can do something a little bit more radical. I always think it's radical, and then I start doing it, and I'm like, oh, womp womp. Yeah, this is not that overwhelming, but let's try it. Let's try it. It's a little bit edgy. So we have 3 times 5 nights plus 1 minus 1/3. She's like, oh, Audrey, you and the fractions. We gotta suck it up and deal with it, Buttercups. We got to. I don't want you to not do well and be able to achieve whatever goal that you want to achieve just because of a fraction. Okay? Fractions is nothing but division. That's all you're doing. Part over the whole. That's all you're doing. Ah. Are you trying to overwhelm us? No, I'm not. Please, no more fractions. After this one, no more fractions. We're going to do one more. Maybe 2. And that's it. And no more fractions, I'll promise. Haven't done a fraction in years. That's all right, Ninja. That's all right. I'm going to walk this through it. That's okay. We just have to face our fears sometimes. I know I'm feeling very deep right now, but, you know, it's true. We really do need to face our fears sometimes. Because we can't let something like math get in the way of what you truly want out of life. I'm not going to let it happen to you. Nope. Alright, so we have Bundles of Blessings saying 2 1/3. Hitch is saying 3. Jedi is saying 1. Is it Idama? It's saying 7/3. If I'm butchering, please correct me. Musa is saying 2. Vicky's saying 2 1/3. I have no idea, and that's fine. Thank you for your honesty, because there's probably tons more people that are thinking the same thing. Okay, so you got 1 1/3. We got 7/3. One's thinking 2 1/3. Did you run a factorial in Candy Girl? 3/5. 1 factorial. You're super stuck. Okay, no idea. Good. Thank you for your honesty. Taking a swing. Okay, hey. All right. So, let's try it out. Let's try it out. So, if we recall. So, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally from left to right. Okay? So, first part, parentheses. So, let's see what's going on inside this parenthesis. So, let me ignore this part and just focus here. So we have a whole number being multiplied to a fraction. One of the things that we could do, we could make this whole number into a fraction, multiply the numerators, then multiply the denominators, then reduce. Or we could cross simplify. Look, we have 3 and we have 9. Okay, both are multiples of 3. So if I divide this 3 by 3, I'm going to get a 1. If I divide that 9 by 3, I'm going to get a 3. So now that I simplified, I can go ahead and multiply straight across, horizontally. So now I got 1 times 5, that gives me 5. And 1 times 3 will give me 3. All right. So even when you have 15/9, remember it can be reduced. Reduce that by 3. So that will give you your 5/3. Not 1/3, 5/3. Okay. Now, this is a fraction. This is a fraction. This is not a fraction. All right? So, peer pressure. Here's a person that's a fraction. Here's a person that's a fraction. This is not a fraction. So, let's make it into a fraction. All right? So, we need a common denominator. And it seems like the common denominator is 3. So how do I make a whole into a fraction with the denominator of 3? What will be my numerator? Peer pressure. Good. All right, so it'll be 3 over 3. Good. Good. 3. Because 3 divided by 3 gives me 1. Okay? So that gives me my 1 whole. So now, since all of them have a denominator of 3, I'm going to keep that denominator. I'm going to put it down here. I'm going to keep that denominator, which is 3. And all I have to do is combine the numerator. Remember, from left to right. So 5 plus 3 gives me 8, minus 1 gives me 7. So we have 7/3. And for all my people that don't like improper fractions, so how many groups of 3s can go into 7 without going over? 2 of them. Because 3 times 2 will give me 6. 7 minus 6 will give me 1. So I have a remainder of 1. So it'll be 2 and 1/3. How you write remainders is over the divisor. All right, so yep, if you want to do 2 point with the 3's repeating, you can do that as well. All right. Okay, how are we feeling? Because I know it's late. I'm going to have one more, which, as I promised, is not going to be a fraction. That's the one thing that kind of keeps me going here. I try to keep my promises. That's what I try to do. And what I would love for you to do is try it by yourself. Okay? It's okay. The candy girl, it's okay. Starting to come back to you there, Ninja? Good. Okay? It does take some time, guys. It really does. Memories. You're learning. All right, Boca. Good. All right. Oh, I appreciate you guys too, Danny. I really do. I just need to get some rest. and really trying. Because I was like, this is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I was like, 7 times 3. And the kid looked at me with the blankest of blank stares. Like I asked him to split an atom. Oh, dear God. Yeah, I was a little frazzled. To the third. Okay. All right. Give this one a try. I know. I love when people say self-care. I don't know anything about self-care. What is that? I was raised in the suck it up buttercup age. It's hard to make that change. But it's a different mindset, right? It's called progression, right? There we go. All right. Tell me what my answer is. I love your name. Brah. Saying negative 16, C4. Saying negative 16, Crossroads. Saying negative 17. Hit saying negative 16. Okay, Bundles of Blessings saying 0. Danny's laughing at my silly jokes. Because some of your names are so funny. I love it. Okay, Candy Girl saying negative 16. Okay, make the adjustment. So that's the best thing about doing this. You just make the adjustment. Okay? You just make the adjustment. Okay, my Flower and Stars is saying 16. Okay, Reed is saying 16. Okay. Charles is saying I'm lost. So you'll see in a moment. Because you did come in a little bit later, Charles, so I have to admit to that. Jasmine saying negative 16. C. Olive is saying I don't know. Okay, I'm going to break it down shortly. God is good. How are you? Negative 16. Overcomer P saying 16. Latanya Miller saying negative 8. Idima saying negative 16. Okay, so you're going to school soon? Oh, okay. Well, you'll probably love my announcement that I'm going to have at the end. Okay, Crossroads, it's negative 16. I added wrong. Okay, Crossroads, there you go. All right. You're taking statistics during the fall. Go over that material? Not really. I hate to say, Jasmine, like statistics, like I'll be with you in the beginning and I'll be okay with standard deviations, but once they start getting into the Z test, the T test, I can't. I love when all the recruiters always say, oh, it's an easy class. You're not taking it. You're not taking it. Do not believe them. All right. Anyway. Always calling the teachers helpline. All right. Not a problem. Okay. I messed up. Okay. It's okay. If you messed up, make the adjustment. It's going to be all right. This is not Squid Games. We're not going to kill you off. It's okay. All right. So, let's take a gander. So, parentheses. We're looking what's inside those bad boys. So, with 5, that is a dot. Okay, we're not doing the X. We're trying to get away from the X. Because X is a variable. And there's too many people that'll say X times X3. And I'm like, why are we doing double X? All right, so 5 times 3, that'll give us our 15. And 15 is going to be added to our exponent, 2 to the third power. That's not 6, okay? 2 to the third power, I'm going to put it up here. That's the same as saying 2 times 2 times 2. Okay? I'm multiplying this base of 2 3 times. 2 times 2 gives me 4, and 4 times 2, that gives me 8. Okay, so I'm going to put the brackets around this, and then we have our minus 7 out here. Okay, how are we doing now? Are we following? We're seeing where this is coming from. All right. Okay, now we still have another bracket. The brackets you treat as parentheses. Okay, so we're going to do what's inside the bracket. So 15 plus the 8. Okay, so 15 plus 8 gives me 23. So that means it's 7 minus 23. Okay, thank you. Maybe 0. Well, at this point, it's not going to equal 0. Okay, it's not going to equal 0. But we have 7 minus 23. So 7 minus 23, that gives me my negative 16. All right. Feeling better? Hey, baby. All right, Matthew, there you go. Negative 16. Todd, 16. Make sure it's a negative. Okay? If you have $7 and you want to spend $23, that means you're short $16. Okay, so that's why it's going to be a negative. All right. Fabulous. Okay. Awesome. Now, for you guys that are here, if for some reason you want to see the replay of this, guess what? You can. All right. If you go to my YouTube channel, Audrey Codner, ACG Math Tutoring, go ahead and take a little snapshot of that. Okay. Free subscription. All of my replays. Okay. Basically since February the 5th. A couple of them are missing because I didn't know about the TikTok only hold videos for like 30 days. So there's a couple that are missing. But there's about 40 something videos right now, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe a little bit more. But all my replays, now this one, give me some time because sometimes it takes extra time to download it off of TikTok so I can upload it onto YouTube. Okay, if it's not on sometime, around 2 or 3, it will definitely be up and loaded early the next morning. All right, so all of my lives. So someone asked me about completing the square. I did completing the square. So it's on that YouTube channel. And it's just like a live, just like this. And I break it down step by step. Okay. Oh, you missed school? All right. Explain the sings. The sings. The signs? Is that what it is? Can I please explain the signs? Which signs? Yes? Okay. So the signs for this one? Oh, so if I have 7 minus 23, okay, so if I have $7 and I want to spend $23, that means I'm short $16. Okay, so when you are subtracting, Okay, this 7 is a positive 7, and the 23 is a negative 23. When the signs are opposite, you are subtracting. You can just subtract 23 and 7, but you're going to take the sign of your larger number, which in this case is 23. So when I subtract, I get 16, but I'm going to have to bring down the negative because 23 is larger than 7. Okay? All right. So, because of this, and I know some people said that they're going back to school, this is what I've been noticing. And I've asked a couple of you guys in the lives and everything. This is what I've been noticing. A lot of people that are going back to school haven't been in school for many, many moons, since they were a fetus. And now they're learning that the pace of the classroom is different when they were first going, say, to high school, all right? Or they were first going into college. It was a nice little page. You can ask your teacher multiple questions. You can, you'll be stuck on one concept for like almost 4 or 5 days. But when you go to community college or you go to college itself, the pace is a lot quicker. You're probably learning like a new concept or 2 or 3 new concepts per session. And it gets overwhelming and it gets all frustrating. And a lot of people want to quit and just say, oh, I'm stupid. You're not stupid. The system is stupid, okay? Because you're learning so much, you're not given any time to let the information marinate. So because of this, when you're going into the community college, you're going to have a professor that's going to say, you should know this by now. But again, like I said, you haven't seen this since you were a zygote. Look that up, okay? That's before a fetus. Now, so now you got to learn to break these concepts down. So you got to do what's called learn by doing. And that's frustrating, that's overwhelming, and you want to shut down, all right? So this is what's going to happen. I am planning on having a prerequisite course. I'm going to teach it. Okay? So when I say prerequisite, I'm going back to fractions. I'm going back to decimals. Like all the stuff that we're doing, order of operations, solving equations, solving 1-step, 2-step, multi-step equation, distributive property, graphing equation of the lines, finding your slope, finding your y-intercept, all of that shenanigans, right? Breaking it down step by step. I don't know what I'm going to call it, but that's not what's important. What's important is what you're going to learn and transfer. So be on the lookout. I'm looking to start that possibly June the 1st. I know our kids are still in school. I'm thinking about having multiple sessions because once a lot of my seniors, they're going to be graduating. So I got a good handful of them and they're going to be up. They're taking their exams this week, if not next week. So I know at the end or the beginning of June, I know things get crazy, but I want to do this during the summer and get you ready to go to college in the fall. That's my goal. And I want you to basically take the AccuPlacer so you can surpass a couple of those non-accredited classes so you can advance and get started where you need to get started. Okay, so be on the lookout for that. Go ahead, subscribe to the YouTube channel. You'll be able to get that. And now repeat, and that's fine. Look, didn't we have this discussion before? It's okay, because when I took the practice to be a teacher, I took it 11 times. 11. 1. And now look at me. A crazy woman teaching math at 11 p.m. on Eastern Standard Time. Crazy. Yeah, so be on the lookout for that. All right, so here are, and if you want to do a course, I have a couple courses. You can go to my website and sign up for them, depending if you want to do ASVAT and so forth. But here are a couple people that I would love for you guys to follow if you need any of this assistance, if you're thinking about doing nursing, see a blessed RN. She is awesome with her calculations, especially for dosage. If you need another person, Miss Evelyn, I think you guys know her as Miss Taylor. She does Impact Math 19. She does the T-test, the ASVAB, GED math, very similar to mine, but she does a lot more with the word problems and breaking down those problems that they have for the practice. She's going to go live, I think, tomorrow at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, but that's 1 p.m. Central Time. If you need a chemistry tutor, check out Professor TK. She is amazing. I think she only goes live Tuesdays and Thursdays, but she might be live tomorrow night. Sometimes she pops up. If you want to find a new way to learn how to add, subtract, multiply, divide, you got Learning with Lynette. She learns how, or she basically teaches how to learn to do math using the abacus. You can see I'm like tongue-tied. Then I added another person because some of you guys might have little kiddos that need help with reading. Okay? If you have some little kiddos, niece, nephews, your babies, my friend Nancy is amazing. She works with kindergarten and homeschool, so pre-K and K, the curriculum. She actually has a full-on curriculum, and she breaks it down and helps you with it. So if you know someone that's thinking about doing homeschooling and just don't know where to start and how to maintain and how to keep these kids active and all that stuff, definitely go to Online Elementary Tutor with Nancy. She's amazing. Known her for years, and she's just a good person. Just all around good people. All right, I'm exhausted. So, but if anything, it's like, what do you need badly? My stuff or, okay, you tell me. Whatever you guys need, please. I always take a look at those, if we're not friends yet, you know, those friend requests. Sometimes they just turn out to be someone that wants to be my sugar daddy. I never knew so many people wanted to be my sugar daddy. Maybe I might look into it. I don't know. But right now, no, I'm good. But if you have any questions, not a problem. No, please don't hesitate to ask. Like, if I don't know the answer, I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to help you find it. Instead of you hammering on thinking, oh, I'm just too stupid, I won't be able to do this. Shut up. Okay, you'll be able to learn it. If I don't know it, you don't know it, trust me, someone out there does know it. Okay, and I have a lot of really good friends that understand concepts. So please don't hesitate, okay, just to ask. Because what's the worst that's going to happen? You get the answer that you want, right? So, thank you so much for joining in. I will try to be a lot chipper. So again, as promised, I'm going to be doing a little more advanced stuff with the rational functions. We're going to do some solving, but a lot of the stuff that we did tonight is actually going to carry over on that. Oh, thank you for the baseball hat. That was sweet. All right. So thank you again for coming in. I will see you guys tomorrow at 1 p.m. Tomorrow is Friday. So at 1 p.m., I'll come in, do my thing. I have to leave by 2:15. So you got me for like an hour and 15 minutes. And then I have to go and tutor like a maniac for the rest of the day. All right. So talk with you later. Have a good evening, good day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye now.